es la voz de LA. It's like Cuna Galaxiana, come and kick it with us. I bring the bossa nova beats and talk the club that we love. Another year to adjust, and well, Kuntz we all trust. 6 titles in the cabin, tell the haters shut up. Mirar al horizonte con el cielo morado. Llegamos al estadio como siempre lo hago. Es la nueva temporada, ya cumplí 30 años. Rezándole a San Pequi que no dé al travesaño. Que repartan los balones y no sean tacaños. Que regrese el contraataque y que le hagamos daño. Un saludo para Robert, hermanos ecuatorianos. Que la táctica de Ananda nunca sean en vano. Si se trata de mi gala me levanto temprano. Ver el fur en verano, en el pasto tumbado. Siempre estoy a tu lado, en cualquier resultado. Vamos Galaxy, on top is where I gotta be. Chilling in the canopy, staging like a winery. Goals during rivalries, brew from the refinery. Only want the finer things, we letting you know. Lo que pasa en la galaxia, ready, let's start the show.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome to a very special lunchtime edition of La Cuna Galaxiana. You know what it is, a podcast always made with love for all you LA Galaxy fans and all you soccer fans out there across the world. You have a home here. We thank you for showing up. Today, the LA Galaxy has made their first big move of the offseason, and we're getting you caught up by having a very special first of its kind live streamed. We'll be joined by athletic journalist and SoccerWise co-host Tom Bogert, who will be here to break down the Galaxy's latest acquisition, what he feels the team still needs, and just how likely it is that Will Kuntz and co will be able to fill all the areas of need for Los Angeles. Speaking of Will, we'll give our end of season grades to the Galaxy FO and coaching staff. Plus, the Galaxy is set to go back to the desert once again. They're back at the CVI. All of that and more coming up on today's episode of La Cuna Galaxiana. And like I said, it's a special one today. It's a first for me for sure. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Halon. You can find my written work at the Sporting Tribune and of course online at El Escudero de LA. Like I said, it's the first for me, but it's not the first for my co-host, Ananda Kirana, El Papa de Natita. You've done this before. You've done daytime streams before because you've been out there in Spain, or early morning streams rather. So this is nothing unusual to you, but this is new for me and for the Cuneros, man.
Yeah, this is new for us, but you know what? When news bombs drop like this from the guy who we're gonna have on a little bit later, I mean, it's time to make a special exception, right? We've got to do it while we can. Strike while the iron's hot. Because right now it is silly season, and boy, was there ever a start to silly season, not just with the LA Galaxy, by the way, but with really the entire league. Lots of player movement, lots of interesting stories and things happening around the league. But of course, this is an LA Galaxy podcast, so we gotta double click on the LA Galaxy piece of it, which arguably, I don't know, maybe we'll ask Tom, like, is this the biggest splash so far that we've seen in the league? Because there's been a couple other player movements as well. Not sure if they're official. I haven't read the latest reports on those other movements, but should be a fun one, man. So thank you. I just want to say first, thank you guys, everyone in the chat, everyone listening, for, scarfing down their lunch really quick and hanging out with us, right, in this special lunchtime stream. And look, if this turns out well, we might do a little bit more of these. Rob and I were just talking about this backstage, but again, thank you guys so much for joining us, and should be a fun one, Baba. Should be a fun one.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be fun. I mean, at the end of the day, this is Cheeseman, and you know me, I love Cheeseman, and it's gonna be interesting to see what else happens along the way here for the rest of the summer now, because the Galaxy did address a major need, and you know what, from what Will and Greg were saying a couple of weeks ago, they're not done. That's just one of maybe 4 to 6 players incoming. But yeah, like Ananda said, go ahead.
I was going to say, what you're telling me is
job's not finished.
Yeah, no, job isn't finished.
That's what you're telling me? All right, got it.
I'm definitely saying that. No, job's not finished, and I think everybody knows that the job's not finished. I mean, there are definitely other areas of need. But I was about to say, yes, Ananda was very right. thank you guys for showing up and hanging out and enjoying this first lunchtime stream with us. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys. And now it's not late in the evening, so I just had lunch myself, so I'm all peppy. I'm all ready to go. And of course, we have the man with us here coming up pretty soon. So Gambit with the good hair. Anyway, if you're here and you want to get something off your chest, if you got to say something, if you have a question, you know what to do. Hit those super chats. We are on the march to 6 super chats, just like your 6-time MLS Cup winning LA Galaxy. And if you are watching today on X and Instagram, first off, we thank you very, very kindly. But then also jump on over to YouTube at one point and hit that subscribe, hit that like, and like the homie Rauli says, hit like, not pipas. That's definitely good advice, not just for this show, but for life. Anyway, Ananda, do you have anything else to add before we get into these announcements?
Well, even more than the super chats that Rob was talking about, we'd love it for you guys. If you guys are enjoying the show, are enjoying the content, haven't gotten around to it, or just thinking about it, go ahead, guys. Just hit the sub button. That'll hit you. The latest up to date of where we are, what time we're streaming, right? Like if we're streaming at 1:30,
pásale sin compromiso, güerito.
You guys will know, and go ahead and hit that notification bell as well. So again, like you'll get an alert from YouTube and let you guys know when we are streaming live. Of course, we are on the road to 800 subs, so hopefully we'll get that by the beginning of next season. So help us get there, guys. Super, super grateful. And of course, on your way out or in your way in, go ahead and hit those likes. It really helps us as well. And papá, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes o noches y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de la Cuna Galaxiana, un transfer especial hoy, ¿no?
Yeah.
Un taquito especial, pero en este caso un transfer especial. Pues.
Yeah, and it's one of the best ones because it's like puro chisme, right? It's like puro chisme and like the lead up to chisme. So I'm about it, fool. I'm about it. Anyway, let's go ahead and hit up some shout outs before Tommy gets with us here. Happy Hanukkah to all my G's that celebrate out there. We wish you and yours a happy and safe holiday season. The re-entry draft stage 2 starts tomorrow, Ananda, December 17th. The list of eligible players will be dropping on the same day, December 17th. So no players were taken in round 1. It remains to be seen what's going to happen in round 2. We will bring you the news with that. The 3rd annual futsal tourney, co-hosted by Jalen Neal, the LA Galaxy Foundation, and the city of Lakewood, is popping off on December 20th and 21st at the Palms Park in Lakewood. There are 4 age divisions, 3 boys and 1 girl. So go ahead and hit up the socials for Jalen Neal or Galaxy Mom, the Galaxy Foundation, City of Lakewood for more information about this. There are a couple of G-specific events happening around Los Angeles in the next couple of weeks. G's Run LA is getting together at Absolution Brew on 12/27, and your Quasar Golf Club will be hoping to become Tiger Woods' next protege when they run their Quasar Golf Club Masters on 1/2/26. More details coming about that soon. And we already know that Kobe's getting a statue this year. I mean, man deserves one. Good on him. But the Galaxy Studios has just dropped a new web series dedicated to Kobe Jones and the creation of the statue. I believe it's already live. If it's not live, it's dropping sometime today, according to the Galaxy social post. So go ahead and check this one out. Go ahead and give Kobe Jones his flowers on Galaxy socials as well. Right now, they have a series of posts called 13 Iconic Moments. So if you're about Kobe, if you're about giving these Galaxy legends their flowers, go ahead and check out that social post as well, and check out Carving an Icon. Check it out. Give Kobe his flowers. Dates and times have dropped for the Champions Cup, the first official Galaxy game of the year. We now have a place and time. Of course, they will be playing Sporting San Miguelito in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and it'll be happening Thursday, February 19th in Panama. Pack your bags, my G's. That's happening at 5 p.m., but we've already been warned that stadium only holds around 2,000 people, so get your tickets early if you are going to go. If you're going to pull up, get those tickets. If not, te vas a quedar afuerita, pobrecitos. And then the next match in that fixture, in that series, happens on Wednesday, February 25th at the Digs at 8 p.m. So, Ananda, if you're keeping track, that means the Galaxy will be playing on the 19th, the 22nd, the 25th, and I believe just a few days later on the 28th or 29th. So anyway, all told, that means the Galaxy opened their season just brutally. 4 games in 9 days to go ahead and kick everything off. So we always talk about how the Galaxy need to get off to a good start on the season. Well, it's going to be that much harder this year, 4 games in 9 days. And they're going to be able to get ready for this by participating in the Coachella Valley Invitational. That's right. The Galaxy are going back to the desert, y'all.
Going back
to Cali. Anyway,
desert.
Ananda, this one has been one that's been under huge speculation, right? I mean, we didn't know when they were going to be playing in the Coachella in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. We didn't know whether that was going to be as early as February 3rd, or just like we found out that it is indeed February 19th. So they got the latest possible start that they could, which is wonderful for them, right? Because it allows them a little bit more time to get things ready. I mean, there's been speculation that Riqui won't be ready for the start of the season. Of course, had it been February 3rd over the 19th, I mean, that's 2 more weeks, so like 2 weeks and 2 days. I mean, a lot can happen in 2 weeks, right? So, it's wonderful that they were able to get that February 19th start date. But the byproduct of that, or not but happily, the byproduct of that is that they get to participate in the CVI. I mean, we've already told you guys, this happens from February 7th to 21st this year. It'll be happening in Indio Valley. And I don't know, this is always a great time. I mean, the Galaxy's February 19th start date likely means that they'll be participating in multiple dates, hopefully both weekends, not just, the first weekend. But we've already talked to you guys about what a great event this is, and an opportunity to be upfront and personal with players, right? Ananda, would you preach on this real quick? Because I know that you love this tournament just as much as I do.
Rob, correct me if I'm wrong. The first year we started doing this podcast, that was the first year of existence of the CVI, right? 3 years ago. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yeah, I believe this will be the 4th year now.
The 4th year. Okay. But that first year, I remember like just going to that and experiencing just the access. I think that's one of the things, if you guys are thinking about going and have never gone, I think this is something that you probably heard on, whether it's Josh's podcast or just people talking about it in forums and stuff. Like, the level of access is really unprecedented. You are up close and personal. It's almost like watching the Galaxy in your favorite community park, right? For your favorite local park, you're that close. And, I know one of the things that people ask as well, is it worth it to get the VIP? Or honestly, guys, even with the regular ticket, you get really, really good access. Like, usually after every match, the players will come out to sort of the fence area, and they'll just go through the lines, right? And they'll go one by one to each and every fan, dedicating a lot of their time. And not just, by the way, not just Galaxy players, but all the teams that are there. They're super gracious with their time, especially with the fans. And so again, I think if you're one of those that want to get that autograph and want to get that memorabilia for your house or for your kids, this is the best time to do it. And you might have a little conversation with them as well. Just like super, super, really good access. And then for us, Rob, look, we get to meet some great people all throughout MLS, of course, writers like Tom, etc. So it's great for us as well, just to network and meet everyone.
Yeah, no, you said it. That's actually one of the, I think that's actually the place we met Tom in person. So if you guys are following along, that means the Galaxy will participate in the CVI from February 7th to the 21st, most likely, or just a couple of days short of that. when that tournament goes ahead and ends. And then they jump right into the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So go ahead and get ready, because pretty much starting February 7th, it's all systems go for Galaxilandia. And I think, Ananda, we might be ready for all systems go with Tom as well, right?
All systems go. Let's
well,
hit it.
Guys, I mean, I know this is the reason I'm here. And thank you guys for being here.
Who wants to listen to us two knuckleheads?
Yeah, no, really. I mean, this is the reason I'm here, honestly. His working words have been featured on MLS.com, 442, The Guardian. You can currently find his work on CBS Sports Golazo, Apple TV, The Athletic, and he is also the co-host of SoccerWise HQ podcast. Please welcome back to the show, Tom Bogert. Baba, ¿cómo te sentís? How are you doing, man?
Bien, y tú?
My
Duolingo fell off pretty quickly. I will say Duolingo, which I appreciate what it's trying to do. I gave up after, I can't tell you how many different days I was relearning uno, dos, tres, rojo. Words like ensalada, tomate. And then I just started to get frustrated. I was like, this is a waste of my time. You're just trying to give me English-sounding words to make me feel better about myself, and I'm not learning anything.
And from the sounds of it, it was just trying to make you hungry. Ensalada, tomate, you know. So it's
There's
like
a lot of that.
Those go a long way in your local bodega, Tom. Let me tell you.
That's a good point. I was in Buenos Aires, and like that was one like I took. So I was like taking like a weekly Spanish class, and I felt like I was making just a little bit of progress. And then I went to Buenos Aires after I hadn't done it for a little bit. And then even just like my broken Spanish and trying, like it feels like I'm being disrespectful when I'm just saying the most basic Spanish words. And then the people who are like, you're talking to are like, my English is way better than your Spanish. And I was like, I agree, but like, I'm never going to learn if I don't try here. And it's been downhill ever since.
No, but you're right. You got to try, and it's amazing that you do. I mean, honestly, Spanish speakers just appreciate that people try. Man, we appreciate as well that you're here with us. We know this is the busiest time of year for you, so we do appreciate just how gracious you are with your time. During the season, what's the one question you're tired of being asked? Like the number one top, like, oh God, this one again.
It just rotates. Things will happen a lot. I guess a blanket one is when I tweet about, let's say we're going to talk about Jakob Glesnes. Let's say when I break the Jakob Glesnes news, there's just a few random questions about like Toronto FC news ? Or things like that. Or we were doing a live stream for a podcast, and there was a Santos fan who had Santos as his profile picture, and I knew this also because every 3 minutes he was spamming the chat with, "Hi, I don't speak English. Have you talked about Neymar yet?" And that went on for an hour, and I was just like, I don't understand. So yeah, those are a couple of the ones.
That's when you were happy. You're like, God, I'm blessed not to know Spanish right now, at the very least. We had your co-host David Gass here on the show.
Shout out.
A couple of months back, right? And he said that Riqui Puig's return in the new year makes the Galaxy instant contenders again. Are you all in on that, or are you a bit more cautious on like a wait and see level to see how he comes back from injury?
I would have said this even before the Glesnes acquisition, but particularly so after. And a quick sidebar on Goss, we were just recording another interview. And when I said that I was running to do this show, he was like, "Oh, yo, those guys are awesome!" Like,
oh,
and I was
Shout
like,
out,
"I know,
Dave.
I've done the show before." I was like, "Don't try to sun me, Dave." But yeah, so back to the Galaxy, I genuinely do think that because this team, they weren't as bad as the first 18 games showed. At some point, no, they weren't very good. Let's be clear. But at some point, when you go 18 games winless, that comes with some bad luck. And the final half of the season, they weren't great. They weren't trophy contending, but they were solid, sometimes decently good. And you add Riqui Puig, who is not only one of the best players in the league, but one of the most heliocentric and important players to how a team plays because of how many touches he gets on the ball and all of the things that he solves when he's out there. Just him coming back makes this team really good again. And particularly the idea of Jakob Glesnes and Amir Garces as a center back tandem, that goes from a huge weakness to a absolute strength. So I'm all in on the Galaxy in 26.
So you just mentioned that center back partnership, right? It seems like they have at least addressed in at least on paper a big worry for them, you know. But what do you feel like is potentially the one thing holding him back from being in that MLS conversation now?
Ooh, maybe number 9. Though again, I all these questions I think have answers to, and Riqui Puig goes a long way to that. Like, I think Christian Ramirez is still, particularly with the DPs around him. I think Christian Ramirez is somebody you can win MLS Cup with as a 9, or win trophies with, or be contending with as a 9 in this team, because the wingers are goal scoring and goal dangerous. I was disappointed that Peck and Paintsill couldn't carry the load a little bit more than they did last year, because I still thought this was a playoff team even without Puig, because I thought we were going to see more usage from those guys, and we didn't get it. Marco Royce was bad in the first half of the season. He looked better in the second half of the season. So I think center forward would be the biggest question mark, while saying, like, I think Christian Ramirez is the answer there. Just, I guess we'll have to see it all play out.
Yeah, at the CVI, I remember that news broke that Christian Ramirez. I believe you broke that news that Christian Ramirez was joining the Galaxy, and I loved the move at the time for the Galaxy, and of course it didn't really pan out this year. But I did say caveat in that tweet that, you know, when Riqui Puig comes back, he's going to be a monster. So now we finally get to see him with Riqui Puig, and it should work out pretty nicely. We are going to give Galaxy grades later, with the Cuneros to the Galaxy FO and the coaches, right, Tom? And so who do you feel like is under more pressure in 2026? The Galaxy front office or the coaching staff?
So in a vacuum, I think it's the coaching staff, just because those are the positions with shorter long-term security. But given that the ownership still gave Greg Vanney his new contract, which I don't think was undeserved, but because that they didn't get it done in the winter, the timing of it coming when they were in this like historic like winless run to start the season, they still got a long-term contract there. Like, I think that they're going to be safe. I do think that the front office, again, one down year doesn't take away from all of the good that both the coaching staff and the front office has done. So they're always going to feel under pressure, both of them, because they're winners, they're competitive, they put themselves under pressure more than anybody else does. But I don't think any of them are in like job security pressure, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, Anand and I have talked about it a couple of times. I mean, Greg signed that contract. I mean, it feels like they're going to give him at least the opportunity to set the aberration that 2025 was to rights, right? So, but saying that, they need to get back to the top of the pile and fast, especially. I mean, we were talking about they come out of the gate with 4 games in 9 days. They have short time now to address their needs. What would you say the Galaxy's transfer strategy is this offseason?
I would have said center back, and I would have said, like, I don't know if they have the room to make anything significant, right? Like, so this Glesnes move, I can't say enough good things about it. This is Defender of the Year, best 11 this year. He was a finalist for Defender of the Year, so he's still top of his game. While the Galaxy and the Union couldn't play possibly any more different of a playing style, particularly when Riqui Puig is on the field for the Galaxy, I think that Glesnes has more to his game than just a strong man who hits the ball hard and hits the ball long, right? Like, first and foremost, what I care about is what he can do defensively, and defensively, he's elite. But on the ball, no, he's not going to be like a Maya Yoshida level passer, but he's not going to be a black hole. He's not going to be somebody that you worry about in possession. And maybe teams will try to trigger the press with him just because he hasn't played this system and his strengths have been in Philly. But it's not super hard when Riqui Puig stands next to you to roll him a 5-yard pass, and then he dictates the attack. And again, I don't think that Glesnes is bad on the ball. It's just he was never asked to do anything on the ball in Philly. Everything was smashed along, particularly this year, more than ever. Under Jim Curtin, though, they played with the ball a little bit more. Like, they were middle of the league in possession, like, kind of surprisingly, given what we know about that game model. And again, he was fine. I think that he's going to fit super well with this team. So that was the biggest one. Maybe goalkeeper is something that I would look at this winter. And then the other side of this is what happens with Peck and Paintsill. I'm assuming they stay, but maybe like Peck, I wouldn't say with 100% certainty that he won't move this winter. So if that happens, then you need a DP winger, or, you know, kind of reshuffling. Maybe you do a DP9 and then sign a different winger. So it depends at this point now on outgoings. But if Peck stays, then goalkeeper is where I'd be looking.
You know, Tom, it's actually funny. You just mentioned, you know, you wouldn't have thought the GLESNES deal was possible just based on the resources that the Galaxy had or what they had available. But
Right.
you know, in our exit interviews with Will and Greg, I mean, they both mentioned to me at the very least several times, you know, that they anticipated bringing in 4 to 6 players. So I mean, I questioned myself, where are those resources coming from? But so do you anticipate that? I mean, like we've kind of called them out on it. Do they even have the resources for that?
Well, so that would have been my immediate thought. Yeah, that's probably true. But then, okay, who else is leaving? And so again, for them to get the GLESNES deal done without anybody going out yet is impressive. I'm assuming that there's going to be more departures, or at least, you know, they put out that they were in talks with Diego Fagundes. It seems unlikely, I guess, that he's coming back. Maybe I'm just saying that speculatively. There was a report by Caleb Pongrantz that they weren't actually really seriously talking. So that's another departure. And you look up and down the squad, Julian Aude, it seems like every window there's a link with him going back to South America. So that's another thing that happens. So long-winded way of saying, yes, I can see the let's say 4 to 5 players coming in, but how many have to leave for that to be facilitated? It is again, they could sign a DP if a DP leaves. It's one in, one out, or some combo of that for me when looking at this team.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Rob, number one, let's never second guess the transfer salary cap wizard that is Will Kuntz. That's number one, right? And I guess number two, yeah, I mean, the other thing that we and again, I don't know, I have no idea how the salary cap works, but remember when I think the big reveal last season, Tom, was when we had Will Kuntz on. He says how big of an impact that MLS Cup win was on bonuses. So it's does that now come off the table? Is that where the room's coming from? We don't know. But Rob, it seems, I mean, with this early move, it's the intent is there, and that's what I love. If I put my fan hat on for a second, the intent, especially on the defensive side, is what really kind of. I thought we would go for a striker first, and then so Tom, going to thinking about that just line of thinking for a second. I mean, you were the one that reported a little bit on Dane St. Clair potentially being an option. I mean, are we seeing that now? Really, the defense is really where the Galaxy want to make the splash, and then we'll figure out number 9 later.
Yeah, and for me, and again, I don't know this as they're planning, so I want to be clear that I'm just answering this either speculation or educated guessing. When you have Riqui Puig, and then you spent again upwards of $20 million in fees in the wingers, the DP wingers. I think your attack is going to be fine, even if they stuck one of us 3 at center forward, right? So I think it is more of a priority to shore up the defense, particularly how bad defensively they looked last year. And Garces was included. Garces was a primary reason that they got to and won MLS Cup. The attack was never an issue all of the year. And then when he got in the starting lineup, they became a serious trophy contender rather than just, this is a fun team that's going to score goals, but you can't trust them going to the playoffs. So Garces, and I think GLESNES coming in is going to make Garces better or make his job a little bit easier. Obviously, Riqui Puig coming back is going to make their jobs easier because they're just going to have the ball more than they did and probably be playing from leads more than they did last year. It just seems so often that they went down first. I should have put up those numbers before I jumped on, but you kind of get the anecdotal point there. So for me, if I was in Will Kuntz's shoes, I'd be focusing on that side, whatever extra TAM slots or whatever extra allocation money I had, I'd be doing that, because if they don't add a single person to the attack, let's just say the front, the 4 starters are a combination of Puig, Peck, Painsil, obviously, and then Marco Royce or Christian Ramirez, or if Nascimento can come back on another deal, whether it's a loan or staying on the U22. Between those guys, yeah, you always can improve, but I'd rather focus on getting a Jakob Glesnes or going out in the free agent market or the trade market and getting a better goalkeeper.
You're speaking our language, because we were hoping and praying here on the Stumble Little Pod that, yes, Greg has spoken about his need for a 9. He wants that 9, but the real need was in defense. Tom, we're going to kick it to a super chat here. Our brother Riley here says, Tom commented on the FIFA Stages event in DC. Thanks for the honesty. Did you catch heat over your comment? What upset you most? Politics, lobbying, and yeah, it was comedy. And yes, I agree with every bit of it. And take it away, Tom.
Yeah, I got a lot more. I want to be clear too, because it's a human condition to focus on the negative stuff that we get rather than the positive. I got a lot of positive feedback from that, which I appreciated. With a lot of the negative feedback was like frustrating in that, like, yes, the Trump aspect of it was an absolute farce. It was a joke, and I think that made it worse. But like my entire the first things I said was, why is there multiple musical performances? Why is Rio Ferdinand doing like 4 different comedy skits? Why is Kevin Hart and Heidi, whoever, was just making jokes that didn't land into like the most stuffy crowd in the world?
No
I didn't
chemistry.
say any like Trump was part. It was one part of like 15 different things I said, but a lot of that crowd just focused on the Trump aspect of things, and just like all the dumbest like Instagram like, again, my favorite one was, people calling me a coward or saying stuff like that. I was like, when bro, like your profile is like Galaxy fan 1 2 3 4 5, or insert anonymous
I
with then like
saw that.
a picture of a sunset, and it's like you have no shame in calling somebody else soft or a coward or something else when you don't have the balls to put your name on a social media account, and you're telling somebody else that. It's just like, those are the ones that piss me off the most, because it's like, dude, like, grow a pair, or like, look in the mirror, man. Like, whoa, like you're like, oh, you're showing me how tough you are, random anonymous account. Like, give me a break, dude.
Tom, bots might not have balls. Just putting that out there.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And,
It-
and I'm being
exactly.
theoretical too, because women can be mean too. That wasn't just a male thing. But
Fair.
the general point is just like, dude, oh, you're really tough, anonymous person, and telling other people like how awful they are. Like, it's funny, like a couple of the message requests, I think that I said something. Again, I think that a lot of things that some people call politics are just human rights and just like basic
Right.
kindness. And
Correct.
like, it's funny to see the people who are like replying to like my Instagram story that's like, oh, they happen to just reply every time this comes up, and it's just like one guy's like, dude, you should stick to soccer. And I'm, all right, bro, like, what do you do for work? Are you an accountant? Don't ever talk about anything that isn't numbers then, you nerd. Like, the hypocrisy is so obvious to me.
Like, hey man, you know what? I better not catch you off your Excel spreadsheet at all, son. You better stick there. Speaking of Excel spreadsheets, we have the numbers officially from the Galaxies on this Jakob Glesnes deal, right? I mean, it's 1.1 in GAM, general allocation money, but they also acquire the homegrown priority for Jameer Johnson, who I heard from my colleague Damian Calhoun is getting some European interest as well.
Yes.
And that's an interesting little sidebar as well. So this deal might have gotten even that much better for the Galaxy. Guys, we were talking about resources, 500K in 26, 600K in 27. Philadelphia could acquire up to 1.1 million in GAM if certain performance-based metrics are met by Glesnes and Johnson. We already know Glesnes' CV. He has multiple All-Star selections, MLS Defender of the Year, and glowing words by Will Kuntz. But how did this deal actually come about? I mean, I didn't think this one was going to happen at all. Yep. This one just came out of the ether. I mean, is Philly actively shopping fools, or did the Galaxy reach out, and did Will Kuntz finesse something?
I'm assuming the latter, but I honestly don't know the impetus of what this came across. And like, Philadelphia Union, this is what they do. Like, they move on, like, they're open for everybody has a price kind of thing. Like, so Ty Baribo's going to DC, which I've been reporting out. That one was not a surprise in any way, because he wanted a new contract. They weren't going to give it. There's been a couple others. Jose Martinez going to Corinthians, and several other trades or moves that the Philly has made. This shocked me. This is like the first time I've been shocked, even like grading on a scale of like, don't ever be surprised if Philly moves on from somebody. I didn't see this
level
coming. They recently signed him to a new deal. But like, what I do know is teams call each other all the time about, hey, what would be the price on this player? Like, shit, I'm sure teams have like asked the Galaxy, what would be your price on Riqui Puig? Usually the answer is just like, I can't come up with a number. You know what I mean? That's what I would have assumed on Glesnes, and maybe Philly just threw out like a big number. And the Galaxy said, well, like, hey, what about X, right? Like, that's probably how this one started, rather than Philly saying, hey, like, we want to get rid of this guy. But again, I'm still really, really surprised that this was even a thing. The first source that texted me about it, I like straight up, I responded to them and I said, "You're like, stop messing with me, dude. Like, I'm not that gullible." And they're like, "No, like, I'm being serious. Like, check this." And then all of a sudden, I was like, "Oh my god, it's real!" And the Galaxy, there was another team that was interested, but it was very clear the Galaxy were in pole position, and they got it done, and they moved very quickly to make this happen.
Definitive Will Kuntz being the chef, man. How does go ahead, Ananda?
I was going to ask Tom. Tom, looking at this, or maybe based off of your knowledge and what you know, is this a one in, one out move? Like, do we expect like someone like Azanka or Maya Yoshida to move from a salary cap perspective, or what's the latest on that? If you have any insight.
That's a good question. I'm assuming that Zonka's time with the Galaxy, if it's not over, it's effectively over, right? Like, that one just didn't work out, and you're not going to go 100% on signings. That would make sense in terms of freeing up space. I'd be more surprised about Yoshida, but if somebody was to move, Zonka would make sense because he then clearly becomes the fourth center back here in this team. Where again, a guy like Maya Yoshida, yes, he's older, but like in the cup winning year, I think he started every single game, and last year he played a bunch, right?
Yes.
Like, so if he's your third center back, then barring injury, you don't really need a fourth.
Yeah, and then I mean, you do have a serviceable fourth in Rindov, so I mean, it looks like the Galaxy could be set there at center back. Do you see any in this Glesnes deal? Do you see any risk or red flag or downside? Is there any danger of this not working somehow? Like you mentioned, there's a difference in philosophy between Philly and the Galaxy, so perhaps that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but like I still believe in him as a player, so like I'm not worried about that. But it is something to bring up. The age probably more. I don't see him slowing down anytime soon, but like he turns 32, I believe, in March or April of next season. So it's essentially his age 32 season. Maybe that's a concern again. I still think that that's fine, but if you're doing devil's advocate of trying to figure it out, the other one would be if you look at guys that the Union have moved on from. Their track record outside of Philly has been bad. None worse than Daniel Gazdag after a DP moved to Columbus.
That's a good point.
Again,
yeah.
I think that this is a case-by-case basis. I just because Daniel Gazdag has not been good in Columbus, I'm not coming into this like having doubts over Glesnes. But like Kasper Shabilko went to the Fire and that was awful for them. You could go down to like Jose Martinez has been good for Corinthians, but like there hasn't been a great track record of when you acquire, like if you acquire somebody from Philly, they might have already played their best seasons or hit their peak. Again, even if Glesnes if he doesn't win Defender of the Year, that doesn't make this a bad move, right? To be clear, because you can't go any higher up than that at MLS. I still think he's going to be very, very good. But if I'm playing devil's advocate of what is there to worry about, like you at least need to say those three things. But I do want to be clear, I'm not worried about those three things at all.
And how does the Jameer Johnson aspect of this deal sweeten the pot, or what have you heard on those European interests?
Yeah, PSV has liked him for a long time in the Philly Academy. When he turns 18, he'd be eligible to sign there. I was very surprised to see his name in this press release, and I kind of asked around about like, hey, is this just like a formality that he's going to sign in Europe? And it was just like, hey, we're figuring that out now. So if the Galaxy signed him, and I'm sure some of the add-ons are tied to if even just signing a homegrown contract will trigger some of the add-ons, it would be worth it. This is a really talented player. He didn't have a fit in the Galaxy system. Like the last I've seen of him, and maybe he's developed and changed differently, and maybe the Galaxy have a different idea, but like he was best as like a winger, and the Union don't play with wingers. I think he could play in as like a free 8, maybe as well. Again, I would need a youth scout to tell me more about what he's doing off the ball. But like, this is a really talented U.S. Youth International that like I haven't focused much on just because it was pretty clear like he wasn't going to sign with the Union. Whether it was him, whether it was the club, whether it was they have just a bunch of other guys that they have to sign, that I just figured he was going to end up in Europe. And so I was pleasantly surprised when I saw his name on this. The Galaxy aren't trading for his rights if they think they have no shot at signing him.
Yeah, no, it's interesting just that there was that aspect of the deal, but then, like I said, just moments before hopping on, I read that from Damon Cahoon, and I was like, wow, that's another aspect of the deal. I mean, again, it just feels like Will Kuntz just finessed fools, but
cooking.
Yeah, just like you said, cooking, right? If you were a betting man, would you say that somehow, some way, Will Kuntz is going to figure out how to get Greg Vanney, the starting striker that he so desperately and plainly has called out for?
Yeah.
Oh, good question. I just always assume that if that's a priority, they'll find a way to make it happen. While still holding space for, like, I think that between Ramirez and whether it's Nascimento or another U22, that could have it covered. But yeah, I don't know. I will say, going back to Greg Vanney, Bibu, I'm forgetting his first name for the moment. He was with the Galaxy second team. He scored a bunch of goals. He wasn't even brought to preseason, I don't think. He went to Sweden, and within like literally 2 or 3 months, Genk bought him.
Yeah,
that could have been a center forward to use last year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Whether or not the center forwards is what Vanney wants them to be versus are they good enough on the roster? That's up for discussion.
Tom, we hardly knew Aaron Bibu, and you're right. It seemed
it sounded disrespectful that I forgot his first name.
It's all right. Like I said, we hardly knew him, even as people that cover the Galaxy every day. It was like we hardly saw him. We just have a couple more for you, and we're gonna let you go here, man. Thank you so much. If the season started tomorrow, what would be your prediction? And I know this is a hard one. What would be your prediction for where the Galaxy would end up in the Western Conference table? Do you feel like they're a top 4 club just as currently constructed?
Yeah, I will do the boring caveats of there are so many more moves to happen. I have not dove into this yet in terms of like season preview shit because of how many things are going to change. Yeah. A team that has a nucleus of Puig, Peck, Paintsill, Glesnes, Garces, Cerrillo, and insert Johnny Nelson and Yamane, right? That's a team that I'm just going to blindly say top 4. It should be the expectations or is the potential. So I will say yes, and I'm very bullish on this team.
Last one here for you. Are there any rumors, any exclusives that you're hearing at the moment that Galaxy fans?
That's what I wanted to get to.
Galaxy fans could go ahead and hang their hat on and just hope for in the next couple of days.
More on the outgoing side, there is real interest from Mexico in Mauricio Cuevas. I believe that's been rumored. I think I've heard. I don't know what is and isn't public. Yeah. That is real. That doesn't mean he definitely will leave, but that's a possibility. And when you talk about salary cap management, selling a homegrown abroad is the best way to regenerate allocation money. So if he does go, while he's a good player, a solid player, he's not irreplaceable, and that would be very useful in terms of allocation money.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean,
that would hurt my heart, Rob.
It would hurt your heart. It would hurt your heart. But look, if you consider the Galaxy got 1.5 for Efra Alvarez, what could they get from Mauricio Cuevas? Correct. Right? And then you have a little bit more money to play with to give Greg Vanney that striker. Yep. Tom, not that you need any help with this, but where can the folks find you in your work?
Yeah, read it on The Athletic. Tune into Soccer Wise. I feel like the tenor of my show there and your show here, I think if you like this show, you'll like that one. I think that we both have similar sensibilities, laugh, and balancing the analysis with some laughter and some fun. So I love what you guys do, and appreciate you for having me.
Thanks, man. We appreciate you dropping by. Have a lovely day. Happy holidays, man. Hope to see you soon. Yep. CVI.
See you at CVI. Yeah.
I got a kid coming in February. I can't make the trip, unfortunately.
Oh, congratulations! Hey, that's the biggest. That's the biggest.
That's the breaking news, man. That's breaking news. Get out of here.
I've talked about it a little bit. Now it makes it like I'm trying to make it about myself. That was just so that there wasn't oh, come on, why don't you come? I was already immediately undercutting that with no trips in February.
new signing for the Bogert household incoming 2026. Congratulations, brother. That's lovely to hear.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Catch you, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. See ya.
Oh, Nanda, did you hear we're gonna be deals?
Hey. Okay. Calm down. Settle down, Baba.
Well, we gotta find Tom a Galaxy onesie, and then we gotta give him the little beanie with the Lacuna logo for the baby, man.
A little mini stash.
Ooh, mini stash. Oh, baby stash is precious.
But and like some a nice head of hair.
Oh, that's incoming for sure. Yeah, guys, we appreciate you being here to hang out with us. And Tom, who's dropping knowledge as always. We feel like we would be remiss if we didn't say, go ahead and go check out Tom and David Gass on their podcast. It is incredible. And of course, they're doing incredible work over there. And go ahead and while you're at it, go ahead and check the Cuna Galaxiana out on everything as well. Check out the back catalog because Tom was with us once before. We talked about Will Kuntz a lot today. He's been here on the show a couple times. So go ahead and check out the back catalog, but subscribe at YouTube.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. That was fun. That was good insight. Anything stick out to you, Rob? What was the one thing that stuck out to you? Anything?
Yeah,
other than Tom's baby.
Actually, well, no, that's precious. Yeah, maybe I just have baby fever. But anyway, the Mauricio Cuevas thing, we reported on before, and it's interesting to see that's actually like a real thing, and it could happen. And we've already talked about the implications and what could happen based on that. But the Galaxy do have Mickey Yamane, and they do have Harbor Miller waiting in the wings, who has a lot of promise. And Greg talked about a lot that would get his chances in the new year, that he's earned it. So, if the Galaxy do decide to move on Mauricio Cuevas, I mean, whoever gets him is getting a fine player, and the Galaxy are probably going to be able to recoup a lot of good assets from that. I mean, it's a win-win. I feel like unless they get fleeced for the deal somehow.
But to your point, though, you made a good point. Like 1.5 for Efra, right? You get 1.5 for a homegrown. You can convert it into GAM. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong about that. So again, anything salary cap, like you have to double check what I'm saying, but that could be enough to get you that starting. You don't have to rely on a U22 for that starting number 9, right, Rob? Or perhaps to sweeten the deal for a player like Dane St. Clair, right? Like that unlocks something. So man, it's hard though, like, because you've got, well, how about this, like salaries aside and stuff, this is no analysis, just gut reaction. Pick 2: Miller, Cuevas, Yamane for the right back position.
If just based on ability, I'd probably go with the younger lads because they have the most upside. However, that's not the world we live in. We live in the world where you need
experience too and win now.
You need that experience and you need that win now. However, on just on the business side of it, Mauricio Cuevas is a very tradable asset. It's there's a lot to mine there. So I mean, they would be kind of doing themselves a disservice if they're not at least exploring. Okay, like, well, how much could we get? I know it's not real world situation, but you sit there and you play transfers on the FIFA and you're like, is this worth it? This feels like one that could be worth it, considering again 1.5 for Efra, but again, if they get fair market value for him, if they get all the assets that he's worth, because he's a good player, right? And he has a lot of upside.
I was going to say the other thing that stuck out, or we didn't really talk about it, but we did mention it. But at least for me in this deal, if you look at the implications of what this means for Diego Fagundes, I think this is the 1.1 or 1 point something million now, where that was basically Diego's like salary hold, right? Essentially for this team's cap. So I feel like it's like, if it wasn't a less than probability last time, it's probably now closer to 0 that Diego returns. And again, that's going to make me sad if I put my heart into it a little bit, right? Because he put his heart into this team. But if you look at that salary swap, that's basically what this deal is, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss him too. And no se dicho nada. No se dicho nada, but it seems likely, right?
Yeah.
Once a G, always a G.
Correct. Yep.
XPH, muchas gracias por tu super chat. We do appreciate it. Thank you for being here today on this midday stream. Hope you guys are enjoying your soup and sandwiches and your fried chicken and lasagnas and stuff like that. XPH writes in and he says, happy holidays, Robin and Anna. Happy holidays to you, sir. Blessings to you guys and your loved ones. Para usted también, señor. Que Santa les traiga muchos regalos. We have you guys. Thank you for all your constant, demanding work. I don't think as fans really comprehend all the work you put in.
Muchas gracias, Papa.
Man,
we love to do it, man. We love doing it.
Yeah, it's all love for real, man, and we do appreciate you guys being here. And that's really all like I said, gifts. I mean, we have gifts, man. It's hanging out with y'all, those experiences. I mean, getting to meet y'all at the CVI, making memories with you guys over the years. I mean, it's all, I've always said, experiences over things, right? And thanks for being part of a lovely experience that is not over. That is not over. So, especially because 2026 is going to be live, y'all. But before we get to 2026, we have to put a bow on 2025, and we're finally getting around to giving coaches and FO grades out. We have 2 for you, and Ananda will take it away.
Well, I could take it away, but this is going to be a discussion, guys. This is going to be like, I know we're bowing down to the end of the show here. This is going to be towards may or may not be our last show, but we'll make an announcement if we, once we have something going here before the end of the year. But of course, like Rob said, we got to put the bow on it. And so just one little last look. And you know what? We talked about them a lot today. So Rob, I hope this isn't like recency bias and that'll affect any of our grades that we're giving out. But this is, of course, for the 2025 season.
Well, that's where you're spitting the facts right here. That's where you're going to spit the data too.
Well, yeah, data schmata, but in this case, it might be a little more. It might be a little more vibes. But I was just looking at this. I was like, do we want to start off? Actually, both might be controversial. So I'm just going to start with Gregorio Vanney, right? Gregorio Vanney. I'm sure there's a lot of opinions on this one.
Tu tío, el tío de Eric, Gregorio Vanney.
So let me just spit out the facts for a second. So of course, not a good season overall in terms of the numbers in the league. 7-9-18 record. He miraculously, well, maybe not, but we avoided the wooden spoon. 26 overall, 14th in the West, 46 goals for and 66 goals against. Again, now it's good that we're actually addressing that area in the offseason. In CCC, we did lose in the quarterfinals to Tigres on 3-2 in aggregate. In the Leagues Cup, he led the Galaxy to a 3rd place finish in Leagues Cup, which is basically the bare minimum because we obtained a spot. The Galaxy obtained a spot in the 2026 CCC. In the Campeones Cup, of course, a heartbreaking loss to Toluca after leading. And as Tom mentioned, we started the year on an 18-game winless streak, and we set a lot of records this year too. With this was on paper the worst Galaxy season of all time, right? In terms of points per game, etc. But again, I'm not doing this to to kind of maybe make an excuse or anything like that. But if you look at after that 18-game winless streak, the points per game were on pace for about 4th or 5th place in the West, right? So we did improve, but of course not soon enough. Okay, that's where the data schmata stops there. Rob, what do you have to say about Greg, and what grade are you giving him?
Oh man, this one's tough because I like Greg. I mean, he's a good guy. He's always very transparent and always very gracious with us in the media. On a personal level, he's a pleasure to cover. On a soccer level, it's tough to defend him sometimes. We've been on this pod several times where people have called for his job. We've been in press conferences where we've asked him to point out why he thinks he's the man to carry this team forward. And certainly it was very, very difficult to say anything positive during that 0-18 stretch. I've already spoken about how if it had been me during that stretch, I probably would have let him go. Gentleman's agreement or not. I mean, it's hey, at that point, conditions have changed, mate. Things are a little bit different. Good on Will Kuntz for honoring that and giving him that contract, even though at that point he had done plenty to lose the courtesy of that contract extension. Saying all that, the man did bring a title in 2024, so there's a degree of latitude that you got to forgive, right? So there's a balancing act. Then you also got to consider that the whole who would you bring in? I mean, there's a lot to consider here. It's like an onion, but the data isn't kind. Like you said, there was all kinds of horrible records set this year. I honestly got to give him like a D or D plus at best, and that's being really kind. The set pieces were atrocious all year. It was never addressed. I mean, the goals were leaking left and right. There was opportunities for glory in the League's Cup. They didn't get it done against Seattle. In the Campeones Cup, they didn't get it done against Toluca. I feel like a D or D plus is being very kind.
Yeah, this is like one of those things, Rob, where it's like I'm trying to grade this against like some sort of rubric. Like, what's the curve here, right? Like, well, what are we grading against? Because if you ask Galaxy fans, we're the LA Galaxy.
What did we give them in 2023?
I don't know. I have to look back at my notes, right?
We're our own rubric, right? I mean, we graded this man in 2023. So, and he had a better season in 2023.
He did, but again, remember, I think a lot of what went into that grade was also the stuff off the field that he can't control, right? All that stuff absolutely put us behind the 8 ball. And so to that point, I go to this year too, like, in the end, the Galaxy we had a math problem in the offseason. It wasn't anything else but a math problem. So I guess that leads me to think like, okay, like maybe that's more of an indictment on maybe what we did on the front office end, which we'll talk about a little bit later, right? But
we will get into that.
Yeah. So, but Greg was, in a sense, already put behind the 8 ball. Rob, one of the things that I think we're starting to see now, and that I'm hoping manifests itself this offseason, is that the Galaxy are rebuilding their spine. We talked about it with so many people this year of how the Galaxy spine was completely ripped out last year. If you look at the goalkeeper, a center forward, guys in the midfield like Mark Delgado and Gaston Bergman, more so Mark Delgado because he was a constant mainstay. He was a starter. And I haven't even talked about the Prince who was promised, right? Who he wasn't an exit, or a departure, but he was unavailable for the entire season. So Greg was really put behind the 8 ball. Now, does that excuse an 18-game winless streak? No, I don't think it does. But at the same time, it's like, I put this season, like, I guess I would be contradicting myself if I said that this season, which I think is going to be more of a positive season. I think the Galaxy, I agree with Tom in that they should be in that top 4 conversation, even with the Glesnes acquisition. But I felt like it was just one of those like, okay, we just need to get through this year and just need to rebuild because of the salary cap, like, because we had to, and that's not an excuse. It's a fact, right? It's a simple fact. And so, but when I grade Greg Vanney, it's like, okay, if I look at his body of work, of course, it's nowhere near what the Galaxy fans' expectation was of bringing a trophy or at least competing for trophies. But at the same time, he did the minimum requirement. So what do we get back in the day in school, Rob? When it's like the minimum passing grade to get you from like algebra 1 to algebra 2, or like calculus to trigonometry to calculus. So like a 67%, 66, whatever that is. Yeah, I'm going to give him
that's a D plus.
I'm going to give him like a D or D plus, whatever satisfactory, whatever passing is, like the minimum, which was getting that CCC spot, which is, like I said, the bare minimum, and not getting the wooden spoon, whatever that grade is, a D, D plus, passing, like barely passing.
Yeah, I think we're on the same level. Like, it was just not good enough. It was just, again, it had been me, I probably would have dismissed him. It didn't happen. And so I'm still getting, I'm still getting the calculus from Trig, right? I'm still getting to that next class, but I'm barely getting there. Yeah, like, should it even be here, really? Like, by the way, the Glesnes acquisition is probably one of the dopest punk band names that I've heard in the recent memory. The Glesnes acquisition now opening live. Anyway, we're gonna keep it moving here. You already mentioned that the team was put behind the 8 ball to start off the season through a bunch of departures. Some of those were, just inevitable, and some of those, like Martin Cáceres was deciding to hang it up, I believe in, and then you had others like Gaston Brugman, Mark Delgado, Dejan Joveljic. That happened because
Jalen Neal, Papa, Jalen Neal.
Yeah, Jalen Neal as well. I mean, these happened because in my very limited view, the Galaxy didn't plan effectively. I mean, they went all in 2024, and they left themselves a little exposed in 2025. Notable incomings there. Elijah Winder, Christian Ramirez, Lucas Sanabria, and Mateus Nascimento. Ananda, what you got to say on this?
Well, let me make a statement and then I want you to react to it. So,
ooh, I like this game.
So Will Kuntz gets, and I'm going to cheat a little bit because I'm going to give him 2 grades. Will Kuntz gets an A for playing by the rules.
For swag?
And no, well, that too. I mean, that's always an A, but by playing by the rules and not getting us in a situation where we get fined and a transfer ban for cheating. So I give him an A for that.
That's bare minimum shit, man. Like, you can't be congratulated. That's like saying to like.
Hold on,
hey,
hold
man,
on. You didn't let me finish. You didn't let me.
I
finish.
give you an A for clocking in on time to work. Like, nah.
You didn't let me finish. By the way, let's not take those things for granted. I'm just gonna make that pretty clear. All right, but I think from another side, like, he probably gets like the same as Greg. Like, he filled those positions, and can you emphatically say that any of them panned out? Now, I'm talking about will they pan out? I'm talking about if they panned out in 2025, right?
Yeah,
I don't think you can.
Nah, no, none of them made the impact I feel like he would have liked. There were moments. I mean, you see the promise. Will they pan out? Who knows? But yeah, I mean, the year before, you had hits on Paintstill and on Packy, and so then you go from that year to this year, and then it's very, very hard to look at those as complete bodies of work and stack them side by side and say, hey, one isn't better than the other. I mean, one definitely is. So in that regard, I mean, we've talked about it with the DP wingers. There was, I mean, or at least with Packy, there was a regression. There was a regression here.
Yeah, no, there was. And so I think, again, I was trying to be a little, a little funnier, but no, he gets probably the same grade as Vanney. Like, but again, I'm judging that. So 2 things can be true. Like, I can praise him for 24. I can, criticize him for 25, but that also means that I'm only grading this for 2025 because we don't know, like, maybe next year, Lucas Sanabria looks like the midfield guy that we signed to be Mark Delgado's replacement, right? Christian Ramirez might have a double-digit goal season goal tally, which is what we signed him up for, right? I just think like last year was just a storm, like it was the perfect storm of things happening, and it all started with that MLS Cup victory, funnily enough, ironically, and it was a math problem. It was an MLS salary cap problem. And you know what? Will Kuntz did the best he could, but this year, it didn't pan out for him. And like none of his signings hit, but that also doesn't mean that I'm not giving up. I'm giving up on them. I'm still like, for me, the jury's still out on Sanabria. Elijah Winder looked good towards the tail end of the season. I think he's going to have a bigger part to play next year, Rob, in that midfield rotation. But for last year, yeah, fortunately, I got to give Will Kuntz a D. And sorry if you're listening, Papa, but it is what it is.
I'm gonna go C- because while you're saying, yeah, you can only judge them on this year, like, I see the upside on these players. So I'm not like, I don't look at these players and go, what was he thinking? No, I see the vision, right? So it's like, you look at Elijah Winder. I mean, you saw him start to come into that player and contribute more. I mean, Christian Ramirez, the jury's still out there. Lucas Sanabria, same. Mateus Nascimento, he showed flashes as well.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So I see the vision, and so that's why I can't go as low as give him a D, a C-, because, like I said, I see what he's trying to do. It just didn't pan out this year, extenuating circumstances as well. Injuries to Lucas Sanabria in his second game, broken collarbone. I mean, blood. Will Kuntz can't control that. It's like just one of those freak things, right? Who knows? Lucas Sanabria stays healthy. He's able to learn the system a little bit better. Gets into a good groove, and he's humming along at least at a decent pace by season's mid. That didn't happen. We won't know, right? But what we do know is that these players have a lot of upside. We see it at the very least, with the ones that I mentioned. So, like I said, C- for me.
Yeah, actually, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, maybe a little bit more than like minimum satisfactory passing. So whatever, 68%, 70%. Yeah, whatever that is. Yeah, that's fair because his job is to not necessarily, I mean, of course, part of it is player performance, but then of course, like the coaching staff has a lot to do with that player performance, right? But in terms of setting up the team, look, again, we don't know what we don't know, but given what we do know and what's public and what's out there, we didn't have any, like, we literally had nothing to work with, Rob. Like, no GAM, very little levers to pull other than a U22 or two U22s, right? Which wouldn't hit against the cap. Yeah, I just think that this was maybe the best that Will Kuntz could have done given the cards that we were dealt. I'm not sure. But again, at the same time, I'm not convinced on a guy like Sanabria. I'm not convinced on a guy like Nacimiento, right? Like, well, I mean, we pulled up the stats on Nacimiento. What was it? 2 goals or 3 goal contributions, something like that?
Yeah, it was 3. Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
You signed a striker to score goals, not to, right? Not to provide, I guess. But
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But I feel like we're fair on these grades. I like this comment. Pretty akin to what Tom said a little while back. With the killer piece back, we will return to being a real contender, even if one of you guys played striker. I already volunteered for it, man. I'll do it. In this Galaxy setup, how many goals do you think I would get as a starting number 9? 5?
Maybe a little more than Nacimiento, yeah.
Ooh, yeah. There you go.
Hey, all you got to do is when you see those wingers run up, you got to make sure you catch up to them, and then you got to put yourself at the edge of the box.
Well, that's not happening. That's definitely not happening. I guess I'm not scoring any goals, guys. But I feel like we scored a goal today just by hanging out with you guys today, and bringing you the first of this kind of podcast, because this was a special lunchtime stream, and you guys were nice enough to come and hang out with us. We do know that sometimes 9 o'clock is a little late for some people, definitely for any folks that want to listen to us on the East Coast. So we do appreciate you guys being here and listening. Anybody that was here, that is here from the East Coast or from the Midwest or anything like that, listening to Tom, thank you guys for being here for the first time. If you guys are long-time listeners, Cuneros, we appreciate you. We love you for it. Ananda, you did mention how this could be our last show of the year. We are working on something for you guys. We're not sure if it's going to pan out. If it does work out, then we would have one more special show for you guys at the end of the year. If it doesn't work out, then this effectively wraps up our 2025 season, which is season 3 for La Cuna Galaxiana. If it in fact is our last show of the year, we want to say thank you for everything this year. It's been a tough one, but through you guys and through the patience of my co-hosts, we've all made it together, and we want to say we love you for it. And 2026 brings brighter days for sure.
Yeah, man. This year's been a blast. I mean, other than the on the pitch stuff, obviously, which didn't bring us much joy. I mean, it was a pretty interesting year to cover overall. But again, you guys, the Cuneros, the Galaxy community, the family, I mean, this is what keeps pushing us through, right? And I think, if I think about the highlight of the year for me, it was easily that stream we did with the listeners, man, like getting everyone on from, uncovering the unicorn that is XPH to Raul G to, Primo Matthew and Roughneck. And I mean, so many people were on that stream, and that's what it's about. We hope to do more of those, not just virtually, but in person as well. Yeah, there's so many more of you guys to shout out, but I hope we continue that next year. And we just want to say a big thank you for supporting us, listening to us, appreciating us, hitting those likes, hitting those subscribes. No, we really appreciate it, you guys. And again, Rob said that it might be the last stream of the year, but who knows, Papa? If we make 2 more signings, if we sign like Dane St. Clair and Benteke in the next 2 weeks, we're doing an emergency stream. I don't care what I don't care what I'm doing. I'm getting on the mic. I'm getting on the hot
mic. I mean, we're gonna have to, right? If the Galaxy keep making these signings, which Tom said that he got the first kind of inkling about that this deal was gonna go off, and he texted his source back like you're playing, like you're messing with me. So this one was big, guys. This is not an insignificant signing for the Galaxy. This is a huge signal of intent, and if something else like this happens and Anda's right, we'll be right here along with you guys to report on it, to talk about it, and give you everything you need to know. Like I mentioned, there could be one real big thing that we can bring you, and hopefully Santa makes it
So good.
possible.
Yep. You guys will really enjoy it. I'm telling you. I wish we could announce something, but we can't. So just cross your
Hopefully
fingers.
soon. Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully Santa will bring it to all of us. And yeah, I think that wraps it up here for today. Ananda, do you have anything else to add?
Just like our I was just gonna say our pegatina, right, Rob? Mucho amor. Much love to all you cuneros. And again, we really appreciate you guys. And hopefully this is not the last time we're saying goodbye in 2025. If it is, have a very happy holidays with you and yours and your family. Eat lots of good food and just spend that time with your families, guys. Like that's, to me, I think, well, especially here being in Spain, like now with my wife's side of the family and just being here with the rest of the family, like I'm really feeling those holiday vibes. So take care of you and yours. And again, hopefully if this is the last time in 2025, have a happy holidays and we'll see you in 2026. Man, this is like crazy. We're in 2026 already. Wild. Anyway.
Yeah, it is crazy. And Cuneros, I guess I will wrap it up here by saying, first, we have not forgotten. We still got to give these away to you guys at some point next season. We will figure out how to best do so. I know there was a mad dash for these rings, so we're going to go ahead and do our best to get these to some of the most ardent Cuneros out there. But like Anand said, if this is the last time in 2025 we speak, just know that we love you and we appreciate you. Thank you for stopping by and supporting this humble little podcast. And without further ado, I think there's only one thing left to say, right?
Dale.
G